Welcome to Dutch Crime Rundown, where we disclose the true stories of the world's most notorious criminals. In today's episode, we will go through the rise and fall of Delano Keylow R, one of Holland's most feared figures. In the shadowy underworld of Holland, one name that has commanded both fear and respect is Delano Keylow R. Known for his ruthless control, strategic mind, and involvement in some of the most heinous crimes in Dutch history, Keylow's life is an evidence to the dark allure of power and the high cost of criminal ambition. But who is Keylow? How did a man from the streets rise to become one of Europe's most notorious criminals? Today, we'll explore the life of Delano Keylow R, tracing his ascent through the criminal world, the key alliances that fueled his power, and the violent path that led to his ultimate downfall. From the gritty streets of The Hague to the secretive networks of organized crime across Europe, this is a story of ambition, loyalty, betrayal, and the inevitable consequences of living on the edge. As we recount Keylow's life, we will reveal the key moments that shaped his criminal career, the ruthless tactics that earned him his fearsome reputation, and the series of mistakes that eventually led to his arrest. This is the story of Delano Keylow R, a figure whose name still resonates in the dark corners of the underworld. If you like these stories, don't forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment. Delano Keylow R was born in 1970 in the Marowijne district of Suriname. At the age of 3, he emigrated with his family to the Netherlands just before Suriname gained independence. His family settled in Molenwijk, a working-class neighborhood in The Hague. This area, known for its high crime rates, poverty, and social decay, became the environment in which Delano grew up. From a young age, Delano was exposed to the harsh realities of street life. His father, who had worked as a mechanic in Suriname, struggled to find stable employment in the Netherlands and eventually turned to illegal activities to support the family. This environment profoundly influenced Delano, who quickly adapted to the street culture around him. By his teenage years, Delano was already involved in minor criminal activities, including petty theft and assault, but it was clear he was destined for a much darker path. Delano's street name, Keylow, originated specifically from his association with drug dealing, his connection to a kilo of cocaine. This nickname would soon become synonymous with danger, as Delano began to make a name for himself in the local criminal circles. In the late 1980s, influenced by the rising hip-hop culture and the allure of gang life, Delano founded the Crips in The Hague. This group, modeled after the notorious Crips gang in Los Angeles, started as a group of friends interested in breakdancing and rap, but quickly evolved into a more sinister organization. Under Delano's leadership, the Crips transformed into the Crazy Underground Crips, a gang involved in armed robberies, drug trafficking, and violent confrontations with rival gangs. The fundamental moment that solidified Delano's path into serious crime occurred in 1989, during a violent altercation outside a discotheque in The Hague. Delano's younger brother, Ricardo, fatally stabbed 18-year-old Feyenoord youth player Jeffrey Sen van Basel. The incident shocked the community and marked a turning point for the Crips. From that moment on, the gang was seen not just as a group of delinquents, but as a serious criminal organization. Delano's leadership style was a mix of charm and ruthlessness. He was known for his ability to inspire loyalty among his gang members, while also enforcing a strict code of conduct. By the early 1990s, Delano had established himself as a powerful figure in the Dutch underworld, with his gang's influence spreading beyond The Hague to other parts of the country. Throughout the 1990s, Keylow's criminal empire expanded significantly. He was heavily involved in the drug trade, directing the trafficking of cocaine and other narcotics into the Netherlands. His operations were sophisticated, involving complex networks that connected suppliers in South America with distributors across Europe. The profits from these activities funded further expansion and allowed Keylow to establish connections with other powerful criminal figures. One of Keylow's most significant achievements was his role in founding the motorcycle club Caloh Wagoh in 2016, which quickly gained fame for its involvement in organized crime. The club, under Keylow's leadership, became a dominant force in the Dutch underworld, engaging in activities ranging from drug trafficking to contract killings. Keylow's ability to guide the dangerous world of organized crime, forging partnerships with figures like Ridouan Taghi, a notorious drug lord, further solidified his status as a kingpin. Taghi, who was arrested in Dubai in December 2019, was one of the most wanted criminals in Europe, and his connection to Keylow highlights the latter's significance in the criminal landscape. Keylow allegedly acted as a murder broker for Taghi, arranging hits on enemies and ensuring that any threats to their operations were swiftly eliminated. By the early 2000s, Keylow had become one of the most feared and notorious figures in the Dutch criminal scene. His involvement in a series of high-profile crimes, including large-scale drug trafficking and orchestrated murders, made him a prime target for law enforcement. The Dutch police, along with international agencies, launched several operations aimed at bringing down Keylow and his associates, but he managed to stay one step ahead for years. Keylow's operations were highly organized, and he was known for his thorough planning. He had informants within law enforcement who kept him updated on police activities, allowing him to avoid capture on numerous occasions. His ability to outmaneuver both rival criminals and the authorities earned him a reputation as a criminal mastermind. The public and media were both fascinated and horrified by Keylow. He was often represented as a ghostly figure who operated in the shadows, yet his influence was felt across the entire country. The fear and respect he commanded made him a legendary figure in the underworld, but it also made him a target. Keylow's criminal empire began to falter with the Eris trial, one of the largest and most complex criminal cases in Dutch history. The trial, which began in 2018 and concluded in 2022, centered on the activities of Caloh Wagoh and its members, including Keylow. The charges against him were extensive, ranging from drug trafficking and racketeering to conspiracy to commit murder. The prosecution's case was built on a combination of decoded PGP messages, testimonies from Crown witnesses, and evidence from law enforcement operations. One of the most significant witnesses was Tony Taghi, a former member of Caloh Wagoh who turned informant. His testimony provided detailed accounts of the murders and criminal activities orchestrated by Keylow and his associates. Despite his previous success in evading capture, Keylow was finally arrested in a dramatic raid that left him with no way out. The trial was one of the most high-profile in recent Dutch history, with the media closely following every development. In July 2022, Keylow was convicted and sentenced to a lengthy prison term, effectively ending his reign as one of Europe's most feared criminals. The impact of Keylow's downfall was felt across the Dutch underworld. His arrest created a power vacuum that led to violent clashes as rival gangs aimed to take over his territory. The Caloh Wagoh, once a dominant force, began to splinter under the pressure of law enforcement crackdowns and internal betrayals. Delano Keylow R's life is a rough reminder of the destructive nature of crime. His rise to power was marked by violence, manipulation, and a ruthless purpose of control. Yet, like many who chose this path, his success was fleeting, and his downfall was inevitable. The legacy he leaves behind is one of fear and devastation, with his actions having a lasting impact on both his victims and the communities he operated in. Keylow's story offers a window into the world of organized crime, where power is often achieved through violence and maintained through fear. His life serves as a stark warning about the consequences of living outside the law, where loyalty is rare and betrayal is common. Keylow's life provokes us to consider what compels someone to choose such a dangerous path. Is it the interest of power, the need for respect, or something more deeply ingrained in one's environment and upbringing? These are questions that may never have definitive answers, but they are crucial to understanding the complexities of individuals like Delano Keylow R. And so concludes the story of Delano Keylow R, a man whose name became synonymous with fear in the darkest corners of society. His life was a series of choices, each one drawing him deeper into a world where escape was never an option. But this story is not just about one man. It recalls a broader world that exists beneath the surface of society, a world where crime, power, and fear intersect, and where the consequences of one's actions can resound far beyond the criminal underworld. By closing this chapter on Keylow, we are reminded of the delicate line between order and chaos, and how easily it can be crossed. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the life of Delano Keylow R. If you found this story compelling, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Your support helps us bring these stories to light. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.